One of the best ways to see how fantasy football players are valuing NFL players is average draft position, ADP. And Jen Piacenti, she has the risers and fallers. Jen, we'll start with running backs. Who's climbing up those fantasy draft boards?
Well, the running back that's made the most meteoric rise, jumping up over 100 positions, Isaiah Pacheco of the Kansas City Chiefs. There's been a lot of excitement, especially since Patrick Mahomes was quoted as saying, when you're big, fast, and smart, good things happen. We saw him take only one fewer snap than Clyde Edwards-Helaire last week, and all reports out of camp have been glowing. Now, I want to caution, just because somebody is going up really high in ADP doesn't necessarily mean you should bite. I think it's getting a little bit dangerous. Don't reach. He's all the way up at pick 115. So he's going in the same range as Melvin Gordon, ahead of Ramondre Stevenson, ahead of James Cook. So just keep your eye on that, because it is still technically a committee with Clyde Edwards-Helaire leading as far as we've heard. But he is someone to keep an eye on. Another riser, Alvin Kamara. Now that news has come out that maybe he won't even see a suspension this season, or maybe the suspension won't be as severe as originally thought, it means he's becoming more and more valuable to your fantasy team. As we know, Alvin Kamara is an incredible player for fantasy. He's never had fewer than 1,300 yards from scrimmage in his entire career. You know that he can catch the ball too. So he's going now a little bit, beginning of the second round, whereas he was going at end of second round before. That could creep up and up in the coming days.
All right, let's get to the other side of the coin, the running backs that are seeing a devalue, according to fantasy football players.
Yeah, so the guy that's fallen the most, Antonio Gibson, man, this guy is taking it on the chin. He has fallen all the way to, in an experts draft last night, round 9. This is a guy that had over 1,000 yards last season. So have we gone crazy, or maybe Antonio Gibson is really out? We saw him take snaps with special teams. He was benched after his second carry when he fumbled a couple weeks ago. And in his place, Brian Robinson got inserted. By the way, Brian Robinson also on the rise for obvious reasons. So keep your eye on Antonio Gibson. At this point, he's fallen so far, I don't see how he isn't a value, because I sort of wonder if his being benched and these exercises are a bit of a teaching moment, and it's a shot I'm certainly willing to take in round 9. The other guy that's fallen a lot, Melvin Gordon, who I mentioned earlier. I just absolutely love this value. He had the same amount of carries last year as Javonte Williams, but he actually found pay dirt more often and was slightly more effective in his efficiency. Now, he was quoted last week as saying they want Javonte to be the guy. Well, yeah, duh. They signed Melvin Gordon to a 1-year contract. Javonte Williams is the younger guy, but that doesn't mean they're not still going to both be used very heavily in this game. It's going to be a high-powered offense. And listen, this could be a little bit of smoke, and it's smoke I'm definitely willing to capitalize on, because Javonte Williams is sometimes going as early as the first round. I'd rather take a 15%, 20% reduction on, stats and that many rounds of a discount. So Melvin Gordon wheels up for me.
All right, let's go over to the wide receiver position. Who has an ADP that is rising?
Well, one that's really rising is Romeo Doubs. Aaron Rodgers was tough on his receivers a few weeks ago, but then he came back and said, actually, there's a new standard for Romeo Doubs. And we all thought it was going to be Christian Watson, but maybe it's not. So keep your eye. He has caught a touchdown in both preseason games, so he is someone worth looking at. Another guy, George Pickens in Pittsburgh. Speaking with the Steelers beat reporters, it sounds like Pickens has the opportunity to perhaps leap Chase Claypool on the depth chart. If that's the case, that is a pretty tasty situation. We know that the Steelers are really good at identifying talented wide receivers in the draft, and there could be opportunity there. Of course, we don't know who the quarterback is, but here's the interesting thing. Chase Claypool is currently going in the same round, so you got to pick who you're taking your shot on. You can't have both.
All right, so 2 rookie receivers climbing up draft boards. Who is climbing down the other way? The guys that are seeing a devalue in their ADP.
Sorry about it, Bill. This is probably disappointing, but Kenny Golladay, no wide receiver saw more targets without recording a touchdown last year. So we were all thinking, okay, has to be positive touchdown regression, right? Well, maybe not. He played 21 snaps on Sunday, and not only did he not have a single catch, he didn't have a single target. Brian Dable has recently been quoted as saying, hey, everybody has to earn their job here. So maybe that was a message to Kenny Golladay. He's slipping. He slipped a round or two already in drafts. And then finally, Russell Gage. Now, we've seen Russell Gage's ADP move around a lot because, with the signing of Julio Jones and then Chris Godwin was back at practice. And so there was a point that his ADP was too high for me, but now he has this undisclosed leg injury and he's slipping again, and I like it again. Tom Brady led an offense that threw for the most passing yards in the league last year, 5,229. How do you not want to take a flyer on a piece of that? He's going around pick 111, and that's a good value for me.
All right, we have plenty more fantasy football analysis. It's all up on Sports Illustrated. Check it out. Go to si.com/fantasy.